well, what food should I eat? What food should I not eat? Is this food good for me? Is it a superfood? Is it a bad food? Is it too much fat? I could be doing so many other things with my time, with my energy, with my brain cells. I was like, I'm done. This has to stop. Most women would say, wow, if I could have, I would have divorced my body. Your body is the truest source.
Welcome to the Old Chicks No Shit podcast for midlife women who are ready to rewrite the rules and create their kick-ass next chapter. I'm Jennifer Arthurton, and each episode we dive into reinvention, resilience, and unapologetic pursuit of your best chapter yet. Because midlife is not the beginning of the end, it's simply a new beginning. Let's dive in. Today's episode is going to be a powerful one. I'm very excited about it. I'm joined by Nina Manolson, who is a body peace coach, who helps women stop the war with their bodies and build a relationship rooted in trust, compassion, and respect. Now, to any of those listening, I'm sure you can relate. Like, I personally have had a very tumultuous relationship, shall we say, with my body over the years. We've arrived at a place of peace and friendship, finally, but man, was it a journey to get there. So if you have ever found yourself feeling betrayed by your body, disconnected from your body, or spent years chasing diets, or most importantly, ignoring the wisdom, like the incredible wisdom that exists within us, then you are going to want to listen to this episode because it is going to be a juicy one. So welcome, Nina.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It is just a delight to be with you. And there's so much that you already said that I'm like chomping at the bit to get into. And one of them was this idea of tumultuous relationship. Yeah. Because I think so many of us can really resonate with that idea of it being a rocky relationship. Yeah. And most women would say, wow, if I could have, I would have divorced my body. It's been that kind of rocky relationship. Oh, yeah. But the reality is we can't divorce our bodies. This is where we live. This is our home. So what we get to do, and I say that intentionally, what we get to do, you don't have to. You can stay in a rocky relationship. You can stay in a tumultuous relationship. But what we get to do is actually heal the relationship, work on the relationship, create a relationship that feels good, that it's a fun place to live in our own bodies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I would even go so far as to characterize my own relationship with my body as abusive at times. Right?
Yes.
Like,
oh, I have heard that so often. There's one of my clients said when we were unpacking her relationship with her body, she said she just got really silent. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm describing an abusive, toxic relationship that I wouldn't put up with from anyone else. She said the things that I say to myself, and I've heard this hundreds of times, the things that I say to myself, I would never, not ever say to anyone else.
Yeah. Well, there's that. And then there's the, and this is where I was guilty, is pushing my body way beyond the limits where it was telling me to stop. Yeah. It's like, suck it up, get back to work, keep going. And especially, when I first started moving into menopause, right? Like I was like, okay, body, what the hell? Like get back on track. Like, you know what I mean? And when I think about it now, I'm like, oh my goodness, my body was going through so much and it was trying so desperately to talk to me. And I did not have time for it. I wasn't listening. I'm like, I was on a mission,
But Jennifer, you just did this beautiful gesture. You were talking about the push, push, push. And then you said, oh my gosh. And then I realized, and you put your hand on your heart. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's such a gesture of compassion, and it's something we can always do with ourselves. Like right away is like a tip right here. Put your hand on your heart and be like, oh, honey.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
That gesture that you made is one of turning towards ourselves, touching ourselves, connecting with ourselves from a place of compassion, not from what you were talking about, which was the hustle, 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 do more, be more, and what I call body management. Control your body, to be a certain size. Okay, body, I'm going to do all these things. Now you body. Your job is to cooperate and turn into this specific shape that I think is what our culture is telling us that is the beauty ideal, right? That is aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Be a good little
And
obedient
painful.
body. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
And it's so interesting when you say it that way, be a good little obedient body. If someone said to us, right, at our age, be a good little obedient girl, you'd be like, I am so past being a good girl. I am so past that. Like I moved beyond that years ago. And yet many women are still expecting that same
Yeah.
kind of like hop to it attitude, compliant attitude with their body.
Yeah. That that is so true. We have so much to unpack here, but
There's a lot to unpack.
let's jump into like what led you to body peace work. Like what was that turning point for you where you were like, okay, this has got to stop.
Yeah. So body peace essentially is not being in the war with your body.
Yeah.
Right. And we all know the war with our body. That's the, oh my gosh, I got to start again on Monday. Oh my gosh, I hate my body, weighing every day, managing every gram, ounce, minute that you're eating or not eating. I was the expert of body war. So much so, and for so many years, that I became exhausted by it. And to the point where I would be constantly thinking about, well, what food should I eat? What food should I not eat? Is this food good for me? Is it a superfood? Is it a bad food? Is it too much fat? Like from all the millions of diets that I did, I had all that data in my head, sort of creating a storm of really boredom and exhaustion. And I was like, I could be doing so many other things with my time, with my energy, with my brain cells. I was like, I'm done. This has to stop. And I now have children and I am not perpetuating this.
Right.
I am not going to continue the lineage of body toxicity, body hatred, body shame. I'm not doing it. I'm not passing it along. And so I was like, this is it. It's ending here. And that's when I really started to do my own work, which came in many, many different forms for, both me getting trainings and graduate degrees and all the letters and all the things, but also really deeply doing my own work to the point where I was eventually able to synthesize both the lived experience and my knowledge and my clinical work of being a therapist into this work of body peace.
Right, right. So what was that like? So when you reached that point where you're like, okay, this is it, can't go on. Like, what was kind of the very first thing that you did? And I know you tried lots of things, but kind of what was that first step that you took?
Yeah. So I would say the first step was embodiment. Body awareness. So there's different relationships we have with our body as women. In our culture, we're taught two primary relationships. We're taught body hate and body shame. I'm going to count that as one, right? I hate my body. We know that. Women get together and go, oh yeah, my thighs, my tummy, blah, 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 blah. We get into this horrible social cycle of body criticism and bonding in it, which I find quite painful, and we should stop that right now. So there's body hate and body shame. And then there's what we were talking about before, body management, right? So those are the two relationships. Here, you're a woman. You can either hate your body, but if you don't want to hate your body anymore and you don't want to feel shame, great, just manage it. Go on to the next diet. And if you do it well enough, you get to love your body, right? But the reality is around body management, it doesn't work. The statistics are that 98% of people who go on intentional restrictive diets gain their weight back, if not more, in 2 to 5 years. Right. So body management is a fail. So there I was, right? I was caught in the cycle of body hate my body, do something. Okay, I'm going to manage my body. Oh, that's not working. So I don't get to love my body. No, I go back to body hate and body shame. So what's the first exit out of there? Is body awareness. And what that is embodiment. What do I feel? What's going on in my body? What's my body saying? How do I become the authority for myself? How do I reclaim body autonomy? Because what our culture has taught us very well, mind you, is to just give over the control and give the power of our body to the newest book, the newest diet, the newest whatever trend it is, the newest influencer, who sometimes is even like a guy who doesn't know anything about women, especially not women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, like clueless.
Yeah.
Right? So here we are at a place, if we want to be in this better relationship with our body, if we want to create body peace, the first stop is body awareness. The first stop is saying, wait, my body, you said it in the very beginning, Jennifer, I wrote it down. You said, I was ignoring the wisdom, right? And so how do we access that wisdom? We come back to our own sensation, our own body that's always speaking to us every single second.
Amen. Yeah. So how do you define the difference? Because there's two other terms related to this that I see floating around out there, and that is body positivity and self-love. How does body peace fit in? I can see you jumping at the
I'm jumping out of my seat, coming out fighting out of the gate.
So how does body peace distinct from body positivity and self-love?
Okay. So the idea of self-love is lovely. The idea of body love is lovely. The idea of being positive about our body is lovely. But let's just do an analogy. I have been in a long-term marriage. I've been married almost 30 years. If someone said every single day, I want you to feel positive about your partner, every single day, you're going to just love him like just amazing. I'd be like, have you ever been in a long-term relationship? Do you know what it's like? Do you know what it's like when you're both rushing in two different directions and everybody leaves the mess? And then what? Do you know what it's like when, like, wait, but I meant to be here and you're supposed to be here? That's not real relationship. Being in the expectation that it's supposed to be rainbows and crystals and, butterflies every single step of the way. That's not real life. So as much as I like the idea of being in body love and the idea of being in body positivity, that's not a real relationship. What's real is being in a conversation, working together, being an ally, working in partnership. And that's what creates peace. So why I feel like body peace is so much more powerful than body love or body positivity. Body love and body positivity becomes aspirational. It becomes this thing like, oh, I don't love my body enough. I'm not feeling positive about my body. Body peace is a practice. It's something we do with ourselves, for ourselves, as much as we can. Right? We don't practice perfectly. We don't get on a yoga mat every day and be like, yes, this is going to be like the most powerful, spiritual, enlightening experience every single day. I put my body on a yoga mat. We don't. We have learned in the practice of yoga that who we are on the mat every day is different.
Right.
Same idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that now, but I was going to say, like, one of the first things that when I started to heal the relationship with my body, one of the first things that I would do would be to just speak kindly to my body, because after years of just being like, a negative, like all negative comments coming at my body, was to start to speak positively about my body. And some days it would be just find something on your body that you love, right? Like just ignore what's not, what you're not loving right now. And it could be, I love the color of my eyes, or I love this particular freckle or stuff like that. And that, like, just even getting used to that, because that felt very uncomfortable at the beginning, right? Like even getting used to speaking positively to myself was uncomfortable. So it kind of felt like a place to start that was small and bite-sized, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you're speaking to another kind of relationship that we don't talk about around our relationship with our body, right? So I said, right, body hate is one we know. Body management is another one we know. Body awareness is not one we're taught.
Right.
And the one that you're talking about is body compassion. We are definitely not taught that one. right?
Right.
And so that ability to create a compassionate, caring, connected relationship, conversation with ourselves is something we need to practice. Like you said, it didn't come comfortably. It felt a little awkward. Sometimes it felt like a bit of a stretch, but simply having a conversation that's based in kindness and compassion is a practice for many of us who literally learned the language of body war. We
Yes.
learned that language.
Really.
We learned how to be critical. We learned how to look in the mirror and zoom in on our thighs or our belly or whatever the heck, right? We were trained into that. And it's really important. And I'm saying that very specifically because women go, oh gosh, it's my fault that I feel so terrible about myself. I'm like, not your fault.
It's not. No.
This was like literally the air we breathed.
Yeah.
We were taught these words. So what you're speaking to, Jennifer, is so important, which is leaning towards how do I start cultivating body compassion, a softening of the gaze, seeing myself as a whole person instead of a number on a scale.
Yeah, that's so true. And it feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like, body awareness, first of all, leads to compassion, which then you're on the road to body peace.
That's the path.
Right.
That is literally the path.
Gotcha.
And everybody's path is a little different because we all got here differently. We all had different messages coming in. But what we want is to have a practice of relationship with our own body that feels nourishing, that feels peaceful, that feels compassionate, that feels embodied. I am in my body and I get to access the wisdom of my own lived experience.
Yeah, that is so true. And speaking of that and wisdom, why do you think that midlife, or this, this place that we're all at, right, in this period of transition, why do you feel like this is such a potent time for women to start reconnecting and reclaiming their bodies?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things going on, right? I really see this midlife, perimenopause, menopause, or late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. There's a developmental stage that we're not talking about. And when I talk about developmental stage, like we think of adolescence as a developmental stage. We think of people stepping into motherhood or stepping through infertility. A developmental stage, right? Dealing with your fertility in some way. Now this, stepping into ourselves at this age, is a developmental stage that I think doesn't get talked about enough, doesn't get celebrated enough, doesn't have words to go with it. And the words that I would put in it is one that's a stage of wisdom. Yeah. It's a stage of authority. It's a stage of deep trust. And so that's what's possible when we walk into this stage from this place of, if you look at archetypal psychology, from this place of being a queen, not a princess. What do you think of me? Is my tiara on right? But from this place of queen, like I know who I am. I know my queendom. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. Yeah. And I have authority in my own sphere. Now, it gets really hard because our bodies are changing by the second.
Yeah.
And so we're having to navigate this incredible sense of wisdom in this changing home that we live in. Yeah. And so, great. I know who I am. I look like this. I wear this kind of clothes, and this kind of stuff is how I am comfortable. And now here I am with all this lived experience, all this wisdom, but I have this body every day I look in. I'm like, wait, what?
Whose body is this?
What happened?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And wait, that A didn't hurt yesterday. And what's this thing going on? And so we're asked to navigate a new home, a new relationship, while we're stepping into incredible power.
So there's that. And then there is the cultural narrative that says, like, so we're, coming into this, we're on Bambi legs trying to figure out this new body, how it works now. At the same time, that the cultural messaging is, oh, well, you're done now. Like, you're no longer the woman you used to be. You're less relevant. Might as well just go sit in the corner. So here we
Yeah.
are trying to develop a relationship with this thing chirping in our ear, right? Telling us that,
Yes.
like, what's the point? Just let it go. You're no longer useful. You can't have kids anymore. You're not pretty,
Yes.
right?
Right. And there's so many things baked into what you said, right? The messaging,
Yeah.
and it happens. Like I watch it. I walk into spaces and people turn to other people and talk to them
Yeah.
first, right? So we become, as older women, less visible,
Yes.
right?
100%.
And less, we are not, our authority is not considered as much. And so it does call on us, invite us into being more visible, being more outspoken, being clear about who we are, what our boundaries are. And it doesn't mean we have to be visible in the limelight. It doesn't mean we have to go out there on a soapbox, but it means we do have to clarify what we want and what's important to us and our own relationship with self, so that we come from this place of feeling grounded and strong.
Yeah. Anybody who's been listening to this podcast for a while has heard me say that menopause was actually the gift that I didn't know that I needed. And one of the aspects of that gift was giving me back my body, because it got to a point where it's like, for most of my life, I lived in my head, and my only relationship with my body was to manipulate it into some shape or form that I wanted to. Right. And then all of a sudden, it's like the wheels come off, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. I went through all of the stages of grief, denial,
Mm-hmm.
and then feeling betrayed by my body and everything. But then it got to a
Mm-hmm.
point where my body was speaking to me so loudly that I could not
Mm-hmm.
ignore it. Like it just wasn't an option. And it was only in that process of like, okay, I've tried to fight it for as long as I can. I've resisted. We've gotten mad at each other. Like we had a big old come to Jesus conversation, like
Mm-hmm.
that make or break relationship conversation. It got me to a point where I was like, oh, I get it now. I need to start paying attention. And it was only when I started to pay attention and say to myself, okay, how do we work together? Like, how can we just stop fighting each other? How can we work together? And I can almost with 100% certainty say this to you, that if menopause had not hit me like a 2x4 across the forehead, I probably would not have got to that place with my body.
Mm.
Right. And I think there's a lot
That's
of women.
incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it's incredibly powerful. But I feel like there's a lot of women kind of trapped in that I'm waging you articulated beautifully, waging a war with my body. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you hit menopause, and now it's like, well, we got to step it up, like bring in the big guns now. So we try out all the things, all the pills, all the supplements, all the diets. Like, just pick up,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but my social media feed is a million and one different things that we all need to be doing. Walking, wearing
Yes,
weighted vests, taking this supplement, taking that supplement, HRT, no HRT. Like, it's just like, whew,
it is. And that onslaught, that avalanche of information destabilizes us,
Exactly.
right? A lot of women who end up talking to me in my sessions or my groups end up talking about, I don't even know what to eat anymore. I don't even know what to do anymore. There's so much information. And when I say destabilize, it literally pulls the rug out from under us, and we're not standing on what works for us.
Right.
Oh, I should be eating. And right now, the big thing is, 5 million grams of protein. That's the newest marketed food, right? But I don't know, a bunch of years ago, it was superfoods. Now it's protein. A while ago, it was something else. There will be something else,
100%.
just so you know.
100%.
So, right. And right now with the GLP-1 drugs, the pressure is even higher, right? Oh, see, if you just take this drug, your body can now conform to the cultural ideal. And the reality is we're dealing with a $72 billion industry, probably more now that the GLP-1s are in the mix. And we're dealing with an even more lucrative anti-aging industry.
Right.
So when we're sitting there going, I don't know what to do, there is a good reason. There's a lot of money being thrown at destabilizing us so that we feel like there's something wrong with us, so that we go buy the fix.
Yeah.
That's always been the MO, right? Of all this marketing. Your body is flawed. you should feel bad. You should be in body hate and body shame, because now we have the solution for you. Just buy this product and all will be well. You will have the perfect body, and then you will have love and success and the promotion and the money, and the fairy godmother will come and tap you on the head, and ta-da, all life is good. Now, we've lived in our body for a decade or two. We know that's not true. And so it's so important to acknowledge the pain that pulls us towards the solution, the pain that we feel like, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me. There is nothing wrong with you.
Well, I mean, we've been set up though. Like we've been set up to be the perfect mark for all of
Yes,
for all of
I
this,
love that.
because
The perfect mark.
we've never been taught how to trust our own bodies. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, from the time we are
No.
small girls, right? Like we've
Yes.
outsourced our bodies. I think you mentioned this earlier. We've outsourced our bodies.
Yeah.
So we have this, like, you know, if women trusted their bodies, they would be like, yep, no, 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 no. But they don't. So we become like the
Yeah.
sitting duck for all of these things. And we happen to have the highest disposable income of any cohort of women out there, right? Like
Yeah.
the sign, the, you know, ding, 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 the dollar signs are popping out of
Right.
everybody's eyes where, you know,
Absolutely.
midlife women are
And
concerned.
there's a concept I want to drop in here.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a academic concept, but I think it's really important. It comes out of the work of Neva Paran, who's a psychologist out of Toronto, the University of Toronto. And she talks about embodiment in lots of different ways, but she talks about two specific types of embodiment, right? Subjective embodiment and objective embodiment. We all know what objective embodiment is. It is your body is an object, and you should try to figure out how to make it just right so that someone else can objectively from the outside look and say you're acceptable. Right. But there's the other one, subjective embodiment, right? And that's a really important one to sink into, which is I am the subject of the sentence. It is my body, right? It is my experience. How do I feel? What is my body saying today? Right? And to continually put yourself as the subject of the sentence instead of what will somebody else think. Then you're the object.
Right.
And we are literally taught to be objectified.
I love that so much. I'm going to go back and listen to the recording of this episode to capture that concept, because that is so beautifully articulated. So how do we, like, okay, I think what you just described is how we learn to trust our bodies is just to put ourselves in the seat of, I am the expert of this meat suit that I am wearing, right? Like I am the expert.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And it's easy to say that, but it's why I always say body peace is a practice. It's a practice to feel it, to come back to our own expertise, because I talk to women every day who are like, this is what I know works for me, but I'm reaching for the avocado, and in my head comes the Weight Watchers amount of points and calories that are in that avocado. So my body says, oh, I really want that avocado. It would feel good. It's a yummy fat. It would make me feel satisfied. It would be delicious. It would be pleasurable. I sew everything about me, yum, yum, hum, hum, right? But my brain is still in diet head and doing diet math. So it's a practice to keep coming back. Wait, so what do I need, and what would feel right? And how do I want to support myself in this moment? Well, how can I nourish myself in this moment?
Right.
Because our brain will forever flip, because it's got neural pathways, luge runs that have been designed to make us feel bad.
So you talk about so this whole notion of body trust, and you talk about it from the idea of diet culture and always like censoring ourselves, like what our body wants. But then there's also the emotional component of it, where we eat our feelings, right? Like I don't really trust how I'm feeling right now, so I'm going to just numb that out, like with either alcohol or food or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust, like I have to numb it out because I don't trust what it's telling me right now. So it can go on both sides of the spectrum is what I'm saying.
Totally. It can. 100%. 100% it can. And the thing that you're talking about is emotional eating.
Yeah.
And I hear it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm eating emotionally.
Yeah.
So what I want to say about emotional eating is that we're emotional human beings.
Yeah.
And so, of course, right, this is the voice of compassion. Of course, we're going to want to feel, well, maybe not feel, but of course, we're going to have emotions. And of course, we have to be in the experience of how do we navigate the emotions. And of course, some of those emotions might want soothing.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are very compassionate and very real feelings. It gets tricky when we're trying to soothe or take care of our emotions and we go into our tool bag of tools that we have to support our feelings, our emotions, our complex, psychological navigating of the world. We open our tool box or bag, and all there is in there is ice cream. Well, ice cream seems like a really good thing to do then.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to cope with my feelings, and all I have when I open this up is ice cream. Okay, I'll do ice cream because ice cream works, or brownies, or whatever the heck that is that you feel works for you to turn the volume down on your feelings. The work in that moment is to go, oh, I'm having a feeling.
Yeah.
And to name the feeling. And one of the things I always say is say it out loud.
Yeah.
I am angry. I am so sad. I am frustrated. I am anxious. Whatever it is, say it. Name it. Make space for it. Because as soon as we go, shouldn't be feeling that, down go the feelings. And then we got to put something on top to keep them down there, to keep the volume down. And then that's when food comes in.
Yeah.
So we need to have different tools to navigate our emotions.
Yeah, and this comes back like as I'm listening to you talk, and I'm thinking kind of about my own experience, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but I want to touch on it again, is this idea of the wisdom of our bodies, right? Like that is, our bodies are always communicating with us, like nonstop. There is not a time that they are not, right? But we either can't hear because we're so disconnected because our head is in the numbers game and like, what does my body look like, right? Or we are too afraid to listen to it for what it might tell us that we don't want to hear, right? And that even the emotions that your body's giving you at that moment is part of the wisdom of your body. Like it's telling you there's something that needs attention at this moment, right?
Absolutely, our emotions have information.
Yes.
So if we think of all of our feelings as having information, oh, I'm angry. Oh, if I was to look at that anger as an email coming in, right, from my body saying, hey, I got some info for you.
Right.
This might help you in your next few little decisions or what you're going to do next. Let me tell you what's happening. So and so at work said something to so and so else, and you were feeling like, wait a second, that person wasn't getting valued, and actually they didn't even listen to me. Oh, so I'm feeling frustrated because I don't feel seen at work and I don't feel like other people are being valued. Okay, so how do I want to navigate that? Instead of, I am so angry, I'm so frustrated, work is terrible, I'm just going to go home and shut all those feelings down. If we think of each feeling really as a personal text to us saying, hello, I have something to tell you. Like, and if we think about it this way, in social media, we're always being like tweeted or posts or messages or a million different ways that the world is coming at us to communicate with us. Our body is doing the exact same thing. Tweeting, sending posts, sending images. If we can say, wow, let me tune into my internal information system, it gives us access to what do I want to eat? What would nourish me? How do I want to move in a way that feels pleasurable and really helps me feel strong and agile and vital in the world?
Yeah.
And when we can get to those deeper issues, then this whole idea of like weight and size becomes less loud.
Yeah. Yeah, because, and that wisdom, also extends into our own intuitive voice, right? Like that thing that's always telling us what we need, what it is that we want. Because I
Always.
mean, in the work that I do, women come to me are like, I know I want something more for my next chapter, but I don't know what. Like, where do I
Mm-hmm.
begin? And the very first step is I direct them back to themselves because they, in fact, do know the answer, but they haven't given themselves permission to own the answer. Like
A
very
hundred
rarely do they
percent.
not know. Right. And it's in a conversation, it'll come up and they'll bypass it. And then I'll be like, whoa, rewind for a second. Just go back to that thing. And then they'll tell me 15,000 reasons why it's not going to work. Right. Here's the
Yep.
long list of it. And I was like, okay, wait, hold the phone for a
Yes.
second. But it's that kind of like, so yes, it's about our bodies. Yes, it's about our emotions, but it's also about like our lives. Again, we become disconnected from our body. We become, disconnected from our own intuitive voice because we're so busy needing to prove ourselves, needing to get validation from the outside world. So how can we build trust when we're
Yeah.
constantly outsourcing in any kind of a decision that we need to make?
Yeah. Um, Jennifer, I want to just riff off of what we've been talking about outsourcing and how
Yeah.
to, what you're talking about, how to come back to trust.
Yes, that's going to be
And
my
one of
next
the things you
question.
might not know about me, one of the things you might not know about me is I write body piece poems. I write poems that speak to our relationship to our body. And I write them partly because it's the way I integrate everything in my world and my practice. And also it's a way to put vocabulary to the experience that we're having. So if it's okay with you, I'd love to read you a poem
Yes,
called
please.
Have You Outsourced Your Body?
Oh, love that.
So have you outsourced your body? Your phone counts your steps, tells you if you've moved enough. Your watch shakes, telling you you've been sitting too long. A book instructs what to eat, when to eat, how much. A syringe of solution deletes hunger, desires, food thoughts. Influencers upload pictures of projected perfection. Where are you? Have you outsourced your body? Managing it like software to be upgraded? What about insourcing? What about listening in, trusting the truth of your own cells? Maybe you will find that your internal algorithm is the wisest. Your gut feeling guiding you to body wisdom, your stiff shoulders asking you to stretch, your rumbling belly reminding you to eat, your clenched jaw calling you to speak your anger, the tingle of pleasure inviting delight, your body cueing you, asking for care. Your body is the truest source.
Okay, that is so beautiful, so powerful. Like I have goosebumps. And okay, whenever people have heard me say this before, whenever I hear something that is like truth, I got the tears of truth. Like this is making me well up because it's so beautifully articulated. We're going to make sure we put a link to that in the show notes for this because we all need to print this out and we need to like post it on our bathroom mirrors and read it to ourselves on a daily basis. It's so incredibly beautiful.
Mm.
Because I mean, our bodies, like I always think about it like this, like our bodies are pure magic. Like when you think about the
I
thousands
love
and
that so much.
thousands of
Mm-hmm.
processes and things that are happening behind the
It's a
scenes that,
miracle.
yeah, that allow us to think, walk, see, look, hug, like all of those bodily processes that happen without any interference from us at all,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like what magic is that? And that we have been
It's
taught to not
incredible.
trust that magic, right? Like that magic has
Mm.
wisdom in it. Like it's
So powerful. Yeah. Right. We are a miracle. And who are we to doubt that miracle?
right, right. Yeah, if we could just learn to listen, to honor, and
Mm.
to trust, or at least start working our way to trust,
Yeah.
the relationships with our body would be so completely different. A lot of industries would have a lot less money.
Yeah.
Right.
One thing I want to say, you said if we could learn, and there is some learning, there's a lot of unlearning, but there is some learning, but there's a lot of practicing.
Right.
Because just like, I've learned different languages as an adult. And, when I start speaking them, I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? How do you say that? What is that word? And I have to practice.
Yeah.
And as I'm an adult learner, I have to practice twice as hard to get those languages right. It's the same.
Yeah.
We have to be in the practice of like, wait, my body's speaking. Oh, my body's speaking. Wait, what is she saying? Oh, I got that wrong. Oh, that's a bummer. Let me try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? Let me just keep practicing to learn the language of my own body. And the language our bodies speak, just in case anybody's wondering, the language our bodies speak is sensation. Mm. So that's what you're looking for first. You want to start learning, you want to go to the land of body peace. You want to be on that path. It's helpful to know the language, right? You're going to Italy. It's handy to know a little Italian. So you're going to this relationship, this land of body relationship. Great. Let's give you some language to support you, to help you navigate it. And the language you want to learn is sensation. Yeah. And we have, as women, been taught so well how to shut it down. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I don't feel pain. I don't feel, anything. Yeah. Nope. So waking up those sensations is one of the first ways, right? Back to body awareness. How do we start this journey? Back to body awareness and back to listening to your body and the way it's talking, sensation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like on my own journey, ignoring my body led me to complete burnout to the point where I couldn't get out of bed a lot of days. Right. And when I look back on that journey now, I'm like, oh yeah, there was this, and then there was this, and then there was this. It was like, your body's giving you the nudge and then the shove. And then if you're not listening, it kind of gives you the brick in the head. Right. Mm-hmm. So when we can come back to that level of awareness to be like, oh, yeah, this thing that's hurting me right now, it's asking something of me. Right. And to your point, it takes, building that relationship, time and practice in order to be able to say, oh yes, this thing actually means that. Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
So true. And I'm at the point now where I'm like, sometimes my body responds to something before my brain has even caught up with it. And now I'm like, oh, wait, what was that? Let me just rewind for a second. I had a feeling, right?
Yes. Right. I had a feeling, I had a sensation, I had a knowing. Yeah. And because you've done the work and I can trust that, I listen to that. I listen to my body like the trusted expert that she is.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. So to the woman who's listening right now and she's like, okay, I'm ready to, to put down the war with my body. Like I'm ready to start tuning in and listening. How do you encourage your clients to start building this relationship, to start trusting? Like what's the place that somebody should start with this?
Right. Honestly, I'm going to go back to the very beginning when I saw you make that gesture of putting your hand on your heart. Right? Starting with that hand on the heart, hello body. Right. Start the conversation.
Right.
Literally the way that Jennifer, you and I got on. Hi, how are you? Put your hand on your heart. Hello, body. Start there. Just start the conversation with tenderness. And if you want to take it further, I have a great journal that's free on my website, which has 20 questions. It has more of my poems. It has 5 of my poems and 20 questions that I would ask you if you were sitting with me about your relationship with your body, because we want to get to know, just like if you walked into therapy with your partner and they'd be like, tell us about your relationship. We got to start somewhere, right? If I'm coming to you in Toronto and I'm coming from Boston, which is where I am, I open my GPS and it first figures out where I am. So those 20 questions are a way to go, where am I? How is my relationship with my body going? And then take off from there.
I love that. Very simple, but it's just like inviting connection, right? Like, I'm
Yes.
here. I'm sorry I've ignored you. Like, what do you need me to know?
Yes.
Yeah. If there was one thing that you could tell every woman, and I think, and I say that because I think every woman
Hmm.
is having some kind of a struggle with her
Yeah.
body right now, like, what's the one thing you want that woman to know?
That you can feel at home in your own skin. It's
Mm-hmm.
possible.
That it is possible to feel at
It is
home.
absolutely possible, no matter what that war has felt like, no matter how broken you feel like you are, no matter how many years you've learned 5 million different languages of diets, it's still possible to learn the language of your body, and it is possible to feel at home in your own skin.
And how would you describe, so for those of us who have never been to that place of feeling at home in your body, like, how would
Mm,
you describe
mm,
what it means
I
to be
love
at home
that.
with your body?
Yeah. So it means feeling like you're fully expressed. And it means you feel free. That's the thing that I hear most clients say. They're
Mm.
like, I didn't know I could feel this free. I didn't know I could feel this comfortable. I didn't know I could walk into a room and feel at ease and fully be myself. And somebody just this week I started working with said, I just want to feel fully expressed. I feel like this war with my body is holding me back from being all of me. And by the time we get to this age, we're like, it's too, like, you know what? It's time. If you haven't been yourself fully yet, this is the moment.
True that.
You can't wait another minute.
Yeah. And what would you say to the woman who says, but I need to lose weight to feel good in my body?
Hmm. Yeah. First of all, I'd say I understand. I totally understand why you feel that way. Our culture has said that being a certain weight is the right way to have acceptance, to have love. So I understand. And that's the first thing, is to have compassion for the part of us that says, oh, but I have to be thin to be healthy. I have to be thin to be loved. I have to be healthy. I have to be thin to be whatever. And then I would say, and what will thinness give you? What are you after, really?
Right.
Are you after the love? Are you after feeling vital and energetic? Are you after feeling successful and seen and visible at work? What are you after? Because weight loss becomes the placeholder for our desires. Underneath weight loss is what we really want. Let's go for what you really want and not get sidetracked by 5 million diets that don't work. And then we never get to what we really want.
Oh, that is so powerful. This has been such a fantastic conversation. I'm actually at a bit of a loss for words because I'm like, I feel like there's so many more layers to this that, and
There is.
I'm sure in the work that you do with your clients, there are many, many more layers to this. But
Yes. Yes.
where can somebody who's listening find you to go deeper?
Hmm.
Like, where's the
Yeah.
best place to connect with your
So,
work?
yeah, really my website, ninamanolson.com or bodypeacewithnina, just all one word.com. That's the best place because there's some cool free offers. One is the journal I mentioned before that has the 20 questions that I really recommend anybody who wants to explore their relationship with their body and to start to shift it. It's a great place to start. And there's also a free masterclass on there where I really go into these different relationships with our bodies and what's possible, what we're taught and what we're not taught. So those are really great places just to you know, walk into. And if like, oh my gosh, this is the work for me, email me. I'm at nina@ninamanolson.com.
Okay. We will make sure that all of that gets put in the show notes so people can easily access it. Nina, I just want to say thank you for bringing
Hmm.
such powerful and enlightening perspective to this conversation. I mean, this is a deep conversation that impacts
Yeah.
literally every woman since the beginning of time.
Everybody. Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
we're all done with it. Like, we want to be done with it, right? Like, it's
We
taking up
do.
so much time and energy and mind space for all of us that we could be
Mm-hmm.
using to create other amazing things in our lives. And it's just time for us to be done with this, and
Yeah.
it's actually an act of rebellion, because in us rebelling, right, against this thing that we've been forced into, like against the
Yeah.
noise that's pushing us into
Yes.
that direction, to say no, I'm rebelling against this, I'm putting my foot down, I am the expert. Like, whew,
Mm-hmm.
that gives me goosebumps, because that right there is
Yep.
the beginning of empowered women, like women who are going to change the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I truly believe, I know you do too, which is that every woman has a gift to give to the world. And so if your relationship with your body is preventing you from giving that gift, we need to do something about healing that relationship.
Yeah.
But the world needs you.
Yeah. I mean, I say all the time, like the hyperfixation we have in our bodies, and especially in this midlife chapter, is like, everybody needs to do what everybody needs to do to feel good about themselves. But
Mm-hmm.
the hyperfixation on our body, we are missing the most powerful part of who we are. Like all of that wisdom
Yes.
and knowledge and experience and the gifts that you just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
like all of that is lying under the surface of that. And when we're not paying any attention to it, we're missing out. The world is missing out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because midlife women on a mission, when something that matters to her literally changes the world, right? But first, we have
Totally
to
true.
unplug ourselves from this not enoughness around our bodies
Mm-hmm.
and our beauty and all of that, to be able to uncover that.
Yeah.
So,
Reclaim our energy
yeah,
and
reclaim it.
put it where we
Power.
want it to go. Mm-hmm.
Oh, such a great conversation. Thank you, thank you,
Good.
thank you. So, to those of
Thank
you
you,
listening,
Jennifer.
I hope you found this as insightful and as powerful as I did. Please, 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 if you like what you heard, go give us a rating or review, or even more importantly, please pass this episode on to your sister, your friend, your mom, your coworker, a woman, any woman. Just pass it on to a woman, because we all need this message, right? Like we all need to begin this rebellion of coming back to ourselves and to just like owning all of that we are. So thank you, Nina, and thank you guys for listening. Until next time.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks for listening to the Old Chicks No Shit podcast. If you like what you heard, the greatest compliment you could give us would be to comment below and subscribe. Or better yet, you could share this episode with a friend, a relative, or somebody you think could get something out of it. And remember, midlife is not the beginning of the end. It's simply the beginning of your kick-ass next chapter.